Alright, in terms of the assessment for this unit, we do have a number of different assessment items. The first of which is an in-class test. It is to be held in your workshops in week 4 and will consist of 10 multiple choice questions. You will be given 20 minutes to complete that, and the test is worth an overall percentage of 10% for your mark of this unit. So effectively 1% per question. We do also have a group presentation. I know some people freak out and start thinking that they're going to look like our friend here when it comes time to presenting in front of the class, but we will guide you through it, and certainly developing those presentation skills are super important for when you guys do come to try and get a job, and you will be successful of course, but certainly presentation skills are things that employers absolutely look for these days. So I know some of you might dread it, but it is quite important. They will be held in tutorials from weeks 5 to 7 and subsequent to that weeks 9 to 11. The presentations are 20 minutes long, each of them. The groups for the group presentation will be assigned in week 2, and certainly if you do not have a group by week 3, you will run the risk of receiving a 0 for this assessment. It is a group rather than individual piece. The reference list and any other material that you use in your presentation, so things like your slides, do need to be submitted to the facilitator before you begin presenting on the day in your workshop. And overall, it is worth 25%, so fairly important there. There is also a presentation peer assessment component. This is worth 10% and will be completed in the same weeks in the workshops as the presentations are held. Each group must submit an anonymous peer assessment of the presenting group. So each week there will be 5 non-presenting groups, and each of those groups need to effectively peer assess the presenting group for that week. You will lose 2 marks for any week that you do not attend. So effectively there will be 5 weeks where you are not the presenting group, and you will receive up to 2 marks for your peer assessment for each of those weeks. Obviously 5 weeks times 2 marks is the 10%. So make sure that you do attend those classes. Obviously if you are not there to actually participate in the peer presentation, you'll lose those 2 marks that are available for each of those 5 weeks. Alright, we do have a second class test which will be held in the workshops in week 8. This one is comprised of 15 multiple choice questions and is worth 15%. So again, roughly not roughly, exactly 1% per multiple choice questions. And here you will be given 30 minutes to complete the test in your workshops. Finally, we have an individual report, which is the summative assessment piece for this unit. It is worth 40%, so it clearly is the major assignment here. It's due Sunday, 27th of May this year at midnight effectively, so any time before midnight on that Sunday. That Sunday, as you'll note, is the Sunday of week 12. So you have until the entire semester to complete this particular report. The report is to be roughly around 2,400 words, of course plus or minus 10%, and is based around 3 questions which are outlined quite clearly in the unit guide. We do require rather that you do follow the necessary report format, and also acknowledge that this is a hurdle requirement for this unit. What that means is that you need to be getting at least 40% in your final report in order to be eligible to pass the unit. So even if you do very well on more than a pass mark for your other assessments throughout the semester, if you do not receive at least 40% in the report, then you will not be eligible to pass the unit overall.